Hey friends, Sean here, Mr. Hero Support Guy, your friendly neighborhood guide to the good life. This video topic is on all about the difference between just being a good person, heroic action, and living a heroic life management style. And so, I have a little visual aid here for you. For those of you who see yourselves as current and aspiring guardians of the good life, you're trying to manage situations in a way that's going to be good for yourself and others and have a high level of positive impact potential. And you just want to, increase your managerial fitness for life in general. So, this visual aid can help you to kind of see what I'm talking about when I describe how your character can become heroic. What I mean is, you're not going to be wearing tights and a cape, like your classic superhero. You're not going to be starring in, a made for TV or film movie about being a superhero, but you are going to be applying those same underlying principles of what heroes are like in the movies. And you're going to be applying that in your own life through your habit of approach and response to situations, right? So instead of responding like a bystander by not getting involved and solving any problems, instead of acting in a way that is destructive and derailing, like what we call villainous in the movies, right? And in the comic books, we're going to try to get involved in a way that's heroic, in a way that creates and protects a good situation. So, you've heard of just being a good person, right? That's what we call pro-social behavior. In the helping professions, they call it pro-social behavior. It means doing things that are going to have a good effect on yourself and on others at the same time. In other words, doing things that are going to be good for the group. So it's going to keep the group together. It's going to keep the group cohesive and functioning well as a team. Um, Sometimes when people talk about being shy, they say antisocial, like as if the person was against being social. But really, the word for shy in the helping professional field is asocial, which means without socialness. And the word antisocial means basically not being a good person, doing things that are objectively harmful to oneself or to others or to the functioning of the group, cohesiveness or team, so that the group or the team is destroyed or their influence is reduced or minimized, trivialized, not as positive of an effect as it could have been otherwise, right? So, pro social behavior is team oriented behavior. It means doing things that are going to help me get my own human needs met and the other guys through a good rapport. So we want to strive to be a good person in general, right? Someone that you can see that their behavior is having an objectively constructive and catalytic effect on circumstances. Their behavior is having an effect that is constructive, it builds up, and catalytic means it moves forward, it's facilitative of progress. And the next thing you might have heard in like hero trainings is what we call heroic action. You see this in the news stories about heroes. Um, it's a one time occurrence of pro social behavior that involves risk and sacrifice. There was a famous story of a guy named Wesley Audrey, I believe, or Autry, that jumped on the subway tracks and saved a person from getting run over by a train. Recently in the news, there was a story of someone who saved some people at a party from being harmed by a person that was doing some bad things with some kind of weapon. And there's lots of examples throughout history of people that have done a one-time thing that was a real big deal, and it was heroic, right? They swam out in shark-infested waters and they saved some people from drowning and getting eaten by sharks. And excuse me, got a little cold going there, I think. So heroic action is noticed, or you recognize it because it only really happens once in a while, maybe once in your lifetime, and it's usually really grandiose and big, and everybody kind of sees it as something outside of themselves. Like, I couldn't do that. Like, I can't be like that. But what we can learn from those heroic actions that people do is that the only difference between heroic action and just being a good person is that you're going to be a good person even when it's risky, and you might have to make some appropriate sacrifices, right? So socially appropriate sacrifices, like the kind that are still healthy. Like, maybe I still need to eat at night and breakfast or whatever, but I don't have to eat as much. Like, if I need to try to lose weight, I can sacrifice a little bit on my comfort food intake. um, if I want to live heroically, I can do things like being a good person, but with risk and sacrifice and intervention, right? Because a heroic life management style is just a pattern of behavior that you could describe as pro social, and it sometimes involves intervention, risk, and sacrifice. So when you see things going wrong, you don't just let them fall off a cliff, right? You don't just let them be destroyed. You intervene and you try to make it better for yourself and others. And that could involve being having to take a risk of some kind, daring to get rejected socially. Maybe you'll look bad publicly and temporary, right? Maybe someone is going to lie about you or smear your reputation. And that is a sacrifice that you're willing to make in order to get the truth out there, or in order to help someone to be freed from the clutches of whatever evil overlord that they're suffering at the hands of. Uh, or maybe it's you just want to live a life of peace and harmony, and in order to do that, you sometimes have to stand up to a bully and say, "Back off! I'm not your personal punching bag. Don't take your anger out on me. I'm not your scapegoat. I'm not here to be your little whipping boy. This isn't Pulp Fiction, and I'm not the Gimp. So back off." Right? So that's a way of being heroic in a small little way that's not really too noticeable. You're not going to get famous doing that. But it's a way of improving the quality of your life and your efficiency of your actions. And it can help you to carve out a space in your day to day life that is pro human. And that's what heroes do. They make this type of behavior a pattern. And that's why I call it a heroic life management style. Hope you guys understand a little bit better now what I mean by that, and how being heroic in your day to day life is actually something good, and it's not something to be ashamed of. We've all been taught to look at the word hero as having like a negative connotation, a stigma, that you think you're better than or something, or you're special, or it's arrogant, but it's really not. It's actually the key to living a good life, from my studies and my 14 years experience working in the behavioral health field. So have a great day, guys, and a great life, and we'll talk to you next time.